In this video, we are going to demonstrate how to report monetary contributions from all other in the new EFS web application. The new web-based application does not utilize schedules as previous iterations of EFS have used. However, the categories in which different data will be entered closely mirror the schedules that were used in the past. In this video, we will be working in the File a Disclosure Report page from the main navigation at the top of the screen after creating our report. For instructions on how to create the report, please view the video entitled Filer Dashboard in EFS. Please note that the Transaction Type drop-down menu, located towards the top of the page, will only populate with items that are applicable for your committee type. To start, select the third category for data entry in the Transaction Type drop-down menu, entitled Monetary Contributions Received from All Other. Once the transaction type is chosen and the user selects Apply, you will see new drop-down menu options for sorting and columns to view. The choices default to Created Date and Descending for sorting. As for column view, 6 are required, but others can be selected based on personal preference. Once you choose which you prefer to see, select Set Preferences. Select the Add New Transaction button to begin entering a transaction. A new dialog box opens. Let's first go over the type of contributors included in this category. Listed in the drop-down menu of choices are Association, Committee, Other, Political Action Committee, abbreviated PAC, Political Committee, Professional or Limited Liability Company, abbreviated PLLC or LLC, and Union. For the purpose of this training video, we will demonstrate the proper reporting of a contribution from a PAC, a political committee, and an LLC. While we are entering in a contribution from a fictional political action committee named Empire PAC, let's review what a PAC is and then look at a few things in the transaction box. A political action committee, often called a PAC, is a committee which makes no expenditures to aid or take part in the election or defeat of a candidate or committee other than in the form of direct contributions, including in-kind contributions. The first question is transaction itemized? Use the drop-down menu to select your response. For this entry, we are showing an itemized transaction, so we select Yes. Next, enter the date the contribution is received or select it from the calendar provided. Next, enter the name and address of the contributor in the fields provided. If this is a contributor you have entered into the EFS web application before, the fields will populate upon selection from the drop-down menu. Next, select the method of payment from the drop-down menu and input a check number if applicable. You will then enter the amount of the contribution. Please note that the explanation field can be used to provide any other information. The asterisk indicates which fields are required for saving the transaction. Please be aware they are not a complete picture of compliance requirements. Select the Save button and a new dialog box opens with the statement, Transaction saved successfully. Select OK to close. Transactions will populate in the table on the page as they are entered after the Add Edit Transaction dialog box is closed. Now we will enter an itemized contribution from a political committee. In this example, we will use the fictional committee, Friends of Ryan Connors. Let's review what we mean by political committee. Political committee may mean a candidate's authorized committee, a party or constituted committee, or a multi-candidate committee. If the transaction does not fall into the limited definition of what a transfer is under election law, the contribution shall be disclosed under this category with the political committee type. For more information about transfers, please review the video in this series entitled Transfers In and Transfers Out. We are entering a contribution from a candidate's authorized committee, Friends of Ryan Connors, to our committee, which is also a Type 1 single candidate authorized committee. We enter information into the data fields as demonstrated earlier with the PAC contribution. Once complete, select the Save button and a new dialog box opens stating Transaction Saved Successfully. Select OK to close. For our third example in this video, we will enter in a contribution from a fictional LLC named HD LLC. Effective January 31st, 2019, New York State election law restricts LLCs and PLLCs to a $5,000 aggregate calendar year limit and requires that LLC and PLLC contributions of any amount be attributed to the member owners in direct proportion to the members' ownership interests. We will show how this looks in the new application. We enter information into the data fields as demonstrated earlier with the PAC and political committee contributions. Once complete, select the Save button and a new dialog box opens stating 3 important things. Number 1, the transaction has been saved successfully. Number 2, LLCs and PLLCs are limited to a $5,000 annual contribution limit, and the committee will need to refund any LLC or PLLC contribution in excess of the $5,000 limit. Number 3, contributions from LLCs and PLLCs must be attributed to the member owners. Select OK to close. Next, close the Add Edit Transaction dialog box by selecting Close. The link to add the required owner details appears on the page in the table in the Action column. Select the attribution link from the table and then select Add Attribution and complete all details for the member owners in the new dialog box. Residential address is required. Keep in mind that the contribution must be attributed in direct proportion with each member's ownership interest. For example, our LLC contribution is $3,000. Let's say this LLC has 2 individual owners who each own 50% of the company. Therefore, $1,500 must be attributed to the first member owner and $1,500 must be attributed to the second owner. We enter information for both owners and then select Save. A new dialog box opens stating Transaction Saved Successfully. We close this by selecting OK. We then close the Add Edit Attribution Details dialog box by selecting Close. Once that dialog box is closed, the outstanding attributable amount is updated in the table. Lastly, in regard to the $5,000 aggregate calendar year limit for LLCs and PLLCs, please be aware that if your committee accepts a contribution over the $5,000 annual limit, disclosure of that contribution is still required. Even if the contribution is refunded, the contribution must be reported as it came in, and the refund is reported separately. We will cover refunds in another video entitled Expenditure Refunds and Contribution Refunds. Repeat the processes outlined in this video for all contributions your committee has received from any of these entity types. As always, staff at the New York State Board of Elections is always happy and ready to assist you. Our campaign finance call center may be reached at 518-474-8200. For technical assistance, Our IT help desk may be reached at 518-473-4803.